This is Buadu TV, truth and integrity.
Was Daniel accused of leaking some video?
Yes, he said anything that went wrong after he left, he was always accused of it.
That the guy got the money from the sky, some snake vomited it, as they say, some lion is in his house and he's been vomiting money. If the lion vomits the dollar and it's his legal tender and it has the signature of the Federal Reserve Bank, it's proper dollar. The chief justices are not subject to elections so that they have longevity and they have administrative authority.
Paul Adom Otchere akasadi afa Richard Nii Armah the birthday na waye ya nwachi yate say ye freezing the bank account ye investigation ya branti wenye ska wahin wato hwan cars wato private jets nwachi birthday ye the whole West Africa ni Africa hade ye beka say the mufwa sika e flow ye nya seketwa eti omo freezing account. Paul Adom Otchere say yenya mrantie na munye sika yenya omo no mu feel free nye bibi eduma o ye ne party o ye amanfo mbenye sika ifu munya seketwa uyi ya no so sinche ya wa fire dia fa aye chief justice madam Tokonu yesi ye no wa ye mfatu hu bi chief justice ababetine dwa so kwan ya amanfo bi di o mfa so petitions a ye petition president say ebe yanke enyi bi process be ne course wa kire ni nyina Ahmed Suale Centronia ya bonjo ya yaya ku no madina no nensem no omuguso sisi leakages e ba efa na WhatsApp chat woni mrante bi ne colleagues e chat ye last chat answer na omubodi chuku ni nyina Paul Adom Otchere eliki
in this Fourth Republic. And this is not the first time that there has been such a massive attempt to remove a lady chief justice. The first one was during Georgina Wood. Incidentally, the circumstances were similar. The NDC had just won election after a two-term MPP government. John Ajekum Kufuor, he had appointed Georgina Wood after Chief Justice Akwa. As soon as the NDC came into office, there was incessant pressure on Professor Mills, then, and his vice president, John Dramani Mahama, to remove the Chief Justice, to accept a petition to remove the Lord Chief Justice. So it's almost like a deja vu. History repeats itself. When Akufo-Addo and when the MPP won elections in 2001, when John Kufuor came in, there was no issue about removing Justice Aban. Justice Aban was working. He felt completely unwell. And then he had to step aside for Justice Redu back in the day. And then in 2017, when Akufo-Addo came in, Georgina Wood was still the Chief Justice, having been appointed by John Kufuor, having survived the onslaught upon her during the Mills era. Professor Mills had to make a definitive statement publicly that as a law professor, he's not about to do something unconstitutional and remove the Chief Justice. So that also didn't work. John Dramani Mahama was the vice president of the time. Now, since the NDC won the elections, the things that we've been hearing, and tonight later I'll be showing you what Justice Atuguba said, which is very interesting, but we'll come to that in a minute. President Mahama is also being under incessant pressure to remove the Chief Justice, Justice Tokonu, having been appointed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2023. Tokonu's appointment as Chief Justice came as a relief and as refreshing to many, given that she was the Chief Justice appointed in recent times who has practiced as a judge in all the courts of superior courts of judicature, the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. She had gone through the mill. She's been a judge for 20 years. Immediately, she came in and she had led many of the reforms under Georgina Wood, under Sophia Akufu, her predecessor. She had led many of the reforms, particularly the IT reforms that is now making the courts look more modern, like America. So many corporate people were quite excited about the arrival of Justice Tokonu, because in our minds, Supreme Court judges were always constitutional law people, Justice Aban, Justice Redu, Justice Akwa, Justice Akufo-Addo of the past, Justice Apalu, and all of these men, ENP Soa, these were constitutional lawyers. You know, in those days, that's really what it was. Justice Tokonu comes in with a breadth of different things, constitutional law, and more importantly, the administrative capacity to run the judiciary. So many were quite excited about this. In fact, in the final analysis towards the choice of Justice Tokonu, one of the Supreme Court judges, whose name I will not mention now, said that if Justice Tokonu didn't get the job and the other person got it, he was going to resign as a Supreme Court judge. Somebody said that. It's on record. We'll talk about it later. Many people know. So then Justice Tokonu got into the 2024 election issues where cases were going to the Supreme Court, left, right, and center. As it is, with almost every election season, you find a lot of writs going to the Supreme Court. In Ghana, in America, it's always the same. So she sat on some of them, and the NDC were not happy with some of it. The MPP too were not happy with some of it. In fact, recently, she dismissed a petition against my favorite friend, Kisi Ajabe, the special prosecutor. Justice Tokonu dismissed that petition, which was filed by Ken Crunchy. And some MPP people were very, very angry with her, that this woman is NDC and... Some NDC people too were very angry with her, that this woman, when the Babin did the vacancy, she ruled in a certain way. Some MPP people said, did you see her body language at the court when Jogate was talking, a whole former Attorney General and former Deputy Speaker? Do you see how she spoke to Jogate? She should get away from there. So there were some MPP people who were angry with Justice Tokonu. And there were some NDC people who were angry with her. Then the NDC won the election. It didn't come as a surprise that concerns were raised about Justice Tokonu and NDC people saying that she must leave, she must go, she must leave. So finally, 2 days ago, or was it 3 days ago, we were told by Felix Kwakye Ofosu that His Excellency the President has received 3 petitions for the removal of Her Ladyship Justice Tokonu. Then all the lawyers, pocket lawyers, proper lawyers, all started discussing what is likely to happen. Our responsibility tonight is to explain to you viewers how Article 146 changes when the petition is against the Lord Chief Justice, and what is the potential effect of the writ that has been filed by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Tafo, Vincent Eko Asifwa, good friend of mine. Hi, Vincent. How are you? Nice man. Very nice boy. Nice man. Did I say boy? It's a nice man. So the writ that has been filed by Vincent, we're going to look at it in detail tonight. And then we'll explain to you why the arguments in terms of, has there been a so-called prima facie? What does that word mean? Has the president done a prima facie? Should the president do it? Or should the Chief Justice do it? All of this is arising because the law says that where the petition is against another Supreme Court judge, the president will forward a petition to the Chief Justice to make the prima facie. Indeed, as we are talking, there is a petition that has gone to the president for the removal of another Supreme Court judge. That petition has been forwarded to Gertrude Tokonu to make a prima facie decision about that Supreme Court judge, whether they should constitute a panel to remove him from the Supreme Court or not. Right now, as we speak, that is there. Okay, they call it a petition to remove the Lord Chief Justice from office, okay? And the petition, when it comes, is forwarded to the president. In each case, it goes to the president under Article 146. Let's see what the Constitution says. Give me Article 146. So Article 146.3 says that if the president receives a petition for the removal of a justice of the Superior Court, other than the Chief Justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall determine whether there's a prima facie case or not. So prima facie cases, as we discussed before, so I take the lead from my producer. He gave me a very good analogy. Prima facie cases, if I'm accused of wearing a blue shirt, but in fact I was wearing a white shirt, then when the judge is making the prima facie case, whether I have a case to answer, and my shirt was obviously white, and the allegation is that the shirt is blue, then there is no case for me to answer because my shirt was not blue. If, however, the accusation is that my shirt was blue, but I was in a light blue shirt, then there are different shades of blue. So I now have to come, and the case has been made for me to answer that, yes, I was in blue, but it wasn't royal blue. The one who committed offense was in royal blue. I was in sea blue. So when I was in some blue, and the person who committed offense was in another kind of blue, there is at least a case for me to answer, and the prosecution must establish the case against me. But if the prosecution, the allegation is that I was in a red shirt and I was in a white shirt, then the prima facie will say that no prima facie case has been made. There's no case to answer. So that's how it is. So there's no case to answer when the allegation is completely ridiculous or has factual and fundamental errors laden with factual and fundamental errors. Or, as the observers look at it, it is the word they use is frivolous. So where somebody says that petitions for the removal of a Supreme Court judge or a Court of Appeal judge, the president of Ghana who receives the petition will forward it to the Chief Justice and ask the Chief Justice that please make a prima facie case. If the Chief Justice returns a verdict of there's no case to answer, then it ends there. If the Chief Justice returns a verdict of there is a case to answer, then under the law, a committee is set up. Members of the committee are determined by the law and it will be put in place, and then they will hear it, and whatever decision they make, they will transfer it to the president and the president will implement it. So when they finish, the president has no role to play. When they finish, they tell the president he is guilty. President says you are guilty, you are being sacked. When they finish, they say he's not guilty. President says you are not guilty, go and continue your work. The president doesn't ask them why is he guilty, why is he not guilty. The other thing we should know, viewers, we should all know is that all of these process, that is from the setting up of the committee stage to the committee's interview with the accused person, is all strictly directed by the Constitution to be in camera. In camera means in secret. It means no camera, actually. Let's not get confused by the Latin. In camera means no camera. So in camera means in secret. Nobody's supposed to hear. When they finish, the president will say it, and I'll come to that problem. So that's Article 1433. Now, 1466 is where we are. Where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, as the one we have now, the president shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the president, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So when so this is what it says, where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice. Now you will notice that Article 1463 used the word prima facie. Can we get it back? Yes. It says, if the president receives a petition to remove a superior court's judge, other than the Chief Justice, blah, 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 he shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall determine whether there is a prima facie case. This is what 1463 says, in respect of a judge who is not the Chief Justice, or a regional tribunal, or a Charlotte Osei, or OSP, all of those office holders whose removal is by impeachment. When you are to be impeached, the applicant writes to the president gives it to the Lord Chief Justice for him or her to make a determination whether there's a prima facie case. But the Constitution proceeds in Article 1466, 1466, and says that where it is about the Chief Justice, then the president will consult the Council of State. Now, the law lords observed that in 1466, there's nothing like prima facie. So this is what happened. Chief Justice Kingsley Acquah, he was Chief Justice. They'll put up his photograph soon. Kingsley Acquah was Chief Justice, and then somebody petitioned that Kingsley Acquah be removed. This is Kingsley Acquah, may he rest in peace. Very, very brilliant lawyer from Adisadel, Lord Chief Justice, may he rest in peace. Now, Kingsley Acquah a petition was sent for against Kingsley Acquah. And then it became obvious that it looks like the Constitution has what the lawyers called a lacuna, a gap, a space, something that has not been catered for. Because we all looked at it and said that, but in the case of the Chief Justice, who makes the prima facie? Because the Chief Justice makes the prima facie in respect of other judges. In the case of the Chief Justice, who makes the prima facie? There was a whole lot of confusion. And that's the beauty of democracy. The law is a living organism. So the law was expanded. Now, one man called Ejechum went to the Supreme Court to say that no, I think that the Supreme Court should find a way of adding to Article 1466. In the case of the Chief Justice, there has to be a way in which a prima facie case should be established. So what did Ejechum say? What is prima facie? We've already told you. Prima facie is whether there's a case to answer or not. This is Justice Dateba, who is still happily with us. Okay, so he says here, in my view, the objective purpose and spirit of the 1992 Constitution requires that a Chief Justice be given the benefit of a prior determination as to whether there's a prima facie case established against him or her before the president may establish a committee to consider a petition for his or her removal. This is what Dateba said. He says, in my view, the objective purpose and spirit of the 1992 Constitution require that a Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, Kingsley Acquah, Sophia Ekufu, be given the benefit of a prior determination as to whether there is a prima facie case established against him before the president may establish a committee. Because we found out that there's no space in 1466 where this prima facie will be determined. So this is still Dateba. He says, there is, and so we are talking about how the prima facie case, what the Dateba and the Supreme Court say about how the prima facie case against the Chief Justice should be established. Who establishes it? Is it the President? Is it the Attorney General? Is it other justices of the Supreme Court? Is it the former Chief Justice? Is it the Chairman of the Council of State? Let's get to the law. He says, the issue which arises then from the discussion above is who is to make the prima facie determination. From the analogy in Article 1463, it is clear that the framers of our Constitution wanted an independent determination of the issue of a prima facie case. That is why they provided in the sub-article that the issue was to be referred to the Chief Justice for determination. In cases relating to the Superior Court judges, other than the Chief Justice. Similarly, I, Dateba speaking, do not consider it reasonable to infer that they would want the President himself alone to make the prima facie determination in case of a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice. There is a parallel need for a process which ensures an independent determination of whether there is a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. I, Dateba speaking, consider that the reasonable implication to be made from the context of Article 1466 is that the Council of State should play a prominent role in the determination of whether there is a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. Accordingly, Dateba continues, I am inclined to grant the plaintiff a declaration that the consultation by the President with the Council of State in respect of the appointment of a committee to inquire into the petition for the removal of a Chief Justice shall first determine whether the said petition discloses a prima facie case before the committee is appointed. So, long and short, Justice Dateba and the Supreme Court said that if the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, as we have now, between the President with the Attorney General behind him, and I remember that during the trial, those who covered the trial, during the trial, the questions were asked of the lawyers by the Supreme Court who were there. Dateba was super. And he said that you see, this case happened when Kufuor was a lawyer. When Kufuor was president and he's a lawyer. So they said that, okay, so who determines the prima facie? Some say the president should determine it. And then Dateba said, but it's not every time we're going to have a president who is a lawyer. Incidentally, after Kufuor came Mills, who was a lawyer. After that came President Mahama, who was not a lawyer. And then came Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was a lawyer. But we were still going to have presidents who are not lawyers. So that argument came up. And then Dateba said in the court that it is for this reason that the President of Ghana has an appointed lawyer under Article 88 to advise him on legal matters. Article 88 is the article that establishes the office of the Attorney General. So now, Dateba says here that the prima facie cannot be done by the President alone. It must be done by the President with the Attorney General behind him and the Council of State. So this is where we are. This is where we are. Now, this Article 88, if you want, let me just go through it for lack of time. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be a minister and the principal legal advisor to the government. So the Attorney General is a principal legal advisor to the government. So the President, in making his prima facie decision, can call upon the Attorney General who will send him a document. That's a document which the President can present in consultation with the Council of State's Judicial Committee first, which is chaired by Sophia Akuffo, which includes Adinyira. And he will tell them that this is the view that the Attorney General has advised me and I stand by it. And then they can look at it and discuss it. So the question here then is, when Felix Kwakye Fosu sent the letter, is there more to read from Dateba? Okay, no, I'm done with Dateba. When Felix Kwakye Fosu sends the letter saying that President Mahama has transferred the document to the Council of State without saying whether they will be making a prima facie decision and then proceed to set up, you see, because when the document is transferred from the President to the Chief Justice in respect of other judges, the communication from the government will say that the President has transferred. In fact, there's one right now. There's one petition right now which President Mahama has transferred to Chief Justice Tokonu for her to make a prima facie decision. And that is how the communication will be, that the document has been transferred to the Chief Justice to make a prima facie decision. However, in the case of the Chief Justice, and with what we now know, and with the document that Ofosu Kwakye sent, he said the President is consulting the Council of State about 3 petitions that has come for the removal of the Chief Justice. There was nowhere in there where he said that the President is consulting the the Council of State, pursuant to Article 1466, to make a prima facie determination whether or not the petition will fly. That was not said. Now, if that is what they are doing, then they will of necessity need to hear from the person against whom the petition is being made. Now, let's now get to the courts, the writs before the courts. Why is ASEFOA suing? What reliefs is ASEFOA looking for? And then we can understand the processes and we get on with it. So they're going to put the writs now. Is that the writ I have here with me? No, not yet. Okay. No, don't worry. We're good. We're good. Forget about the last one. We're good. Let's get to the Chief Justice one. I think people are following us. Okay. So now the people in court, Visitor ASEFOA, whose lawyer is the former Learned Attorney General Godfrey Adom Otchere, has gone to court with this. He's asking the Supreme Court to do as follows. He's looking for a declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 146, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and Article 23, 57, and 3, and 296 of the Constitution, the President is mandated to notify the Chief Justice about a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice and obtain his or her comments and responses to the content of such petition before referring the petition to the Council of State or commencing the consultation process with the Council of State for the removal of the Chief Justice. Second declaration, a declaration that upon a proper interpretation of Article so and so and so and so and so and so, that the President to notify the Chief Justice and obtain his or her comments and responses to the petition for the removal of the Chief Justice before triggering a consultation process with the Council of State. And because they didn't do that, that constitutes a violation of Article 1466, as well as the constitutional protection of the security of tenure of the Lord Chief Justice, who is a justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, stipulated in Article 1461 of the 1992 Constitution. A third declaration being sought by the petitioner is that he's saying that the court should declare that a failure by President Mahama to notify the Chief Justice and obtain his or her comments and responses to a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice before triggering the consultation process with the Council of State amounts to an unjustified interference with the independence of the judiciary enshrined in Article 1271 and 2 of the 1992 Constitution. Oh, whoa, there's a fourth declaration. What are they asking for? The fourth declaration is that failure by the President to notify the Chief Justice and obtain her comments and responses before triggering the process constitutes a violation of the fundamental rights to a fair hearing contained in Article 23 and 296 and renders the consultation process for the removal of the Chief Justice initiated by the President null, void, and of no effect. So the petitioner is saying to the Supreme Court that give me a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 1466, that the President did not consult the Chief Justice against whom the petition is being made before triggering the process with the Council of State is null and void. It's a violation of her rights. It's a violation of the Constitution. This is simply what they are saying. That before the government told us that the petitions have been forwarded to the Council of State and therefore the process has triggered, before then, they should have sent it to Madam Chief Justice so that she will put out her comments and her comments can form part of making that determination. Failure to do so should render the process null and void. Now, in addition to this, the claimants also filed an injunction that based on this declarations that they are seeking and based on this matter of constitutional interpretation that has been raised by their writ, and which is invoking the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's original jurisdiction is to interpret the Constitution. The Supreme Court has appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from the Court of Appeal. But this original jurisdiction is to give a constitutional interpretation and meaning of the Constitution or many other laws as far as Ghana is concerned. So I believe this is the application for interlocutory injunction. It says that there's, it's here. Oh, sorry. Let me look at this. Okay. It says, please take note that this honorable court will be moved on the day appointed by the registrar at 9 o'clock in the 4. The day appointed is Wednesday, 2nd April 2025. Please take note, it says, that this honorable court, being the Supreme Court, will be moved on the day appointed by the registrar. Day is 2nd April 2025. At 9 o'clock in the forenoon or soon thereafter, as counsel for and on behalf of the plaintiff applicant may be heard on the application praying for the following orders: an order restraining the President and the Council of State from proceeding on the consultation process for the removal of the Chief Justice under Article 146 or in any manner until the hearing and final determination of the instant action. So on Wednesday, we are all going to the Supreme Court. Big matter. Hopefully they can let us cover it live on television as we've been doing these days. The Supreme Court is going to sit on Wednesday to hear the matter, whether or not in triggering the process with the Council of State, the President and the government of President Mahama have violated portions of Article 1466 of the 1992 Constitution. If the panel on Wednesday come to the conclusion that yes, the injunction should be granted, that is a big story. If the panel on Wednesday comes to the conclusion that the injunction fails, that is an even bigger story. What will happen? Let's see what happens. But Justice Atuguba has an idea. Justice Atuguba, our good friend, has an idea. And this is what he said. I was completely flabbergasted when I saw it. This is coming from a former Supreme Court judge who could nearly have been Chief Justice. This is what he says. He says, when the executive needs a reform, the president is changed. When the legislative needed a reform, the speaker was changed. When the judiciary needs a reform, the Chief Justice needs to be changed. If Nanado could remove the electoral commissioner, the auditor general, and it was good, so should John Mahama be able to remove the Chief Justice. Did he really say that? I hope he didn't. You know, these days you see these things. I hope he didn't. Justice Atuguba said this. I mean, Atuguba is the one who was teaching us. How is he saying that? In some countries, judges are voted for. And everybody knows that. Any political science students knows that. In some countries, they vote for judges. In America, they vote for attorney generals. Attorney General of New York is elected. In some countries, the Chief Justice is elected. They go to ballot and vote. In some countries, it's not elected. In those countries that the Chief Justice is not elected, there's a reason, there's a philosophy behind it why those countries decide that we will not elect a Chief Justice. Because they don't want the Chief Justice to be subject of electoral vote and vote and those things we do in elections, up and downs, and they vote. So when Justice Atuguba here compares the executive that is elected, that when we don't want the executive, we vote them out, and compares it to the legislature that is elected, when we don't want the legislature, we vote them out, and then draws in the Supreme Court that is not elected for the sanctity and protection of our national constitution. We do not elect Supreme Court judges, we appoint them. And then they have security of tenure of office, except they have done something egregiously wrong through impeachment. You don't remove a Supreme Court judge. Justice Atuguba says that because president is elected, because legislature is elected, even though Supreme Court judges are not elected, we should subject them to the equation of election. I think that is very sad, totally embarrassing, completely shocking that a distinguished Supreme Court judge will make a statement like this. I mean, why? Is it just the NDC and NPP politics now is doing us like that? I mean, why? It's such a distinguished Supreme Court judge. I have a lot of respect for that policeman. I gained a lot of respect for him. The policeman who was fighting with Dampare, who went to run for MP and didn't get, Alex Mensah. When the Dampare issue happened, the Dampare removal, he said that it is good that Dampare has been removed, but he condemns the jubilation at the police headquarters. He was speaking like a COP, that this jubilation is wrong. And when we have public servants who have left the system and talk like that, it helps the system. Because the jubilant policemen were expecting that, I was expecting that Alex Mensah will be happy. Alex Mensah said, well, yeah, it's good that, but you can't jubilate when the IGP is gone, he's your boss. Now, contrast that to my Lord, Mr. Justice Atuguba, who says that president is elected, parliamentarians are elected. When we don't like president, we change it. Do we have a schedule in Ghana where every 4 years we go and elect Chief Justice? Do we do that? Every 4 years, do we go and elect a Chief Justice? We want our constitutional democracy to be sustained. He of all people, a law lord, must want the constitutional democracy to be sustained. That's why we have one Chief Justice swearing in 3-4 presidents. Chief Justice Georgina Wood swore in Professor Mills. Chief Justice Georgina Wood swore in President John Dramani Mahama. Chief Justice Georgina Wood swore in Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Chief Justice Aban swore in Fly Lieutenant Rawlings in 1997. Chief Justice Aban swore in John Ajekum Kufuor, because the Chief Justices are not subject to elections, so that they have longevity and they have administrative authority. Justice Atuguba, who was the lead judge for the election petition 1, such a distinguished career, now says that when the executive needs reform, the president is changed. The president is not changed when executive needs reform. The president is changed at the ballot box every 4 years. We can change presidents every 4 years. That's the constitution that we have written to ourselves. So it's not, we don't change because the executive needs reform. If the executive needs reform in 2018, we will not be able to change it because we have to wait for 2020 before there's an election. If today the executive needs reform, we can identify it. Even if we come to the conclusion, every Ghanaian comes to the conclusion that the executive in Ghana needs reform, we cannot do anything about it until December 7, 2028. That is the constitution that we have given to ourselves. And you have a Supreme Court judge speaking in a way that completely undermines the constitution in this manner. Oh, my goodness. Wow. My Lord, how are you? My Lord, good evening, my Lord. Your Lordship, with the greatest of respect, Your Lordship, with the greatest of respect, this one, I beg you, my Lord, with the greatest of respect, this one, come again. I beg you, my Lord, come again. What? Okay, so show me something else quickly before we go and show the video of the interview we had with the lawyer for the guy who is being charged for murder of Ahmed Suale. Is there anything else on this platform that we are yet to do? Felix Kwachi Ofosu, what? Yes, good. This is another story, very quick one. What is worrying me is that the trend is a bit worrying, the trend. You see, because as somebody wrote in the text, President Mahama had told the NDC legal people in 2023 at Ho that if they come to power, some of them should want to be judges so that they can change the judicial reform. Felix Kwachi Ofosu says that the Supreme Court decision in J.H. Mensah and Attorney General was wrong. I mean, this decision that has been celebrated everywhere has become a backbone of our constitution. The decision in 31st December, which has been celebrated across the world by socialists and Democrats, Republicans, everywhere, that decision showed that the Ghanaian democracy had been born. Felix Kwachi Ofosu says that those decisions were wrong and that they were against NDC. Is there a trend? Is there a trend? Is there something somebody wants to do to remove a Chief Justice, to show muscle? And they have support from former Supreme Court judges, and they are getting this support, and they are moving on. Just for information, on the Judicial Council, the president has seats on the Judicial Council. One of the people President Mahama nominated to go on the Judicial Council was Kofi Totobi Kwache. The Honorable Kofi Totobi Kwache is a security and intelligence man. He's one of the nominees of President Mahama for the Judicial Council. Think about it. Food for thought. Okay, I'll leave it here. Let's go to a text message. And then we have this video for you about the one we promised you. The lawyer for Koranti, who is now being charged with the murder of Ahmed Suale. She had a lot to tell us. I'll show you the video in a minute. So let's get to a text message, final round of it before we show the video. What are people saying?
All right, thank you, Paul. So coming from Real Max B says, the removal of the Chief Justice is not a very good agenda. Ransford says the law only mandates the president to do one thing, to set up a committee. And in setting up this committee, he shall do this in consultation with the Council of State. And lastly, coming from O'Neill, Francis says, this whole petition to remove the CJ is bogus and a predetermined intention long prepared by the NDC. What they have forgotten is when they present a bad case, they will always lose their cases. They just want to appoint an attorney general who will aid them and establish their wicked regional tribunal courts. What do you have for us?
Right.
Chake says, Atuguba is a disappointment. His analogies of late exposes that he has regulated his legal prowess and now wears his political spectacle. Much more is expected from a man of his caliber. He is an apology to the judicial system. Lastly, from Elvas, he says, Justice Atuguba is an NDC man who sees everything wrong with the NPP. He hates that Nanado appointed the Chief Justice. He lied about the outcome of the 2012 elections to favor Mahama. Very corrupt Supreme Court judge. Right, Annette.
Well, yeah, February's interpretation of the Honorable in his pursuance with the Constitution, the Chief Justice is a Supreme Court judge, so her removal must first start from her before the President can consult the Council of State before the determination of prima facie case and referral to an established committee by the President. Now back to you, Paul.
All right. Thank you very much for your text messages. Let's get into the... oh, am I on? Okay. Sorry. Yes, we're good. All right. A few days ago, we recorded an interview. We showed you portions of it on Monday. It's a big story going around. So many things have happened this week. A murder situation is very sensitive. We're talking about Ahmed Suale. Good evening, Imagine. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Paul.
So when was the Mr. Daniel Cranton, Amachi, Akwesi Cranton, all the names, when was he arrested by the police?
On the 15th of March, Saturday, in the afternoon, I think he was braiding his hair in Amasaman, where he resides.
And that's where he was arrested?
Exactly.
So he's not on bail yet?
No, he's still being held on very strange and bogus charges.
Bogus is your opinion?
Exactly, because he's been accused of releasing pictures.
So what have they told him? When they arrested, what have they told him? What are they concerned about?
What they are trying to say is that he released pictures, for which reason Ahmed Suale was killed.
He released pictures?
Yes.
Pictures that were in his custody?
Sold pictures.
He sold? That's allegation.
To Kennedy Japan.
He sold pictures to Kennedy Japan?
Yes, and he published it, which then caused Ahmed Suale's death.
That they exposed who Suale was?
Exactly.
And that is the charge that given?
Exactly.
The charge that they have preferred against him?
Exactly.
All right, so...
Which to me, I think is strange.
We'll get to that in a minute, but he's not on bail yet.
No, he's not on bail.
The legal team were also concerned about something Multimedia did. What was it about?
We were in the interrogation room, I think around 2:28, we came out around 3:28, 3:30, thereabouts. When we came out, there was an article released an hour before we had come out. And it was seeking to say that my client, or should I say, Daniel Ofori had fled the country and he was a fugitive of justice, and he just snuck in 2 weeks ago, making him a flight risk, and then amongst others, that he was the suspect of Ahmed Suale's murder has been apprehended. You know, those kind of narratives that are given to the general public raises a lot of anger and in fact, emotions. So before...
But has he not been apprehended for being allegedly part of or being responsible for the murder of Ahmed Suale? Is that not the reason why?
At the time when we were in there, we were in interrogation. They are trying to ask him questions as to how all these things came about.
Who were in there? Him, you, his lawyers?
Me, yes, and his lawyer, Kofi Essel. I'm sure you've seen him on...
But you're a barrister too.
Exactly,
okay,
I am.
But Kofi Essel is representing him.
Exactly.
You are doing media for him.
Exactly.
I see. So all of you were there.
Exactly.
And they asked him questions.
Exactly.
What did they ask him?
Several questions. Things about his baby's mother, things about...
His baby mother?
Yes.
He's not married or he's married?
He is married.
But he has a baby mother?
Yes, his first child.
And they wanted to know something about...
Whether she worked for a nurse, whether she... To me, it was very strange.
Whether the baby mother works for a nurse?
Exactly.
Okay, but Daniel works for Tiger Eye?
Exactly.
Okay, so when you came out, what was in the article?
The article basically said that he had been trying to interfere by getting bail, number one. Number two, that he was a fugitive of justice. and that he had snuck out the moment the police were on his heel to London and returned just 2 weeks ago, and at that point the police apprehended him and then presented him for interrogation.
Is there a history that the police were looking for him? Is there any history like that?
That could not have been possible.
Why?
Because this man has been in this country, working with the police themselves, applying...
On the Suale murder?
Not on the Suale murder.
Okay.
But on social media, he's everywhere.
Working with the Ghana police?
He's working with the Ghana police. He's been apprehending people, presenting them for his documentaries. He works in the medical field.
Documentaries in the medical field?
Exactly.
I see.
Usually he looks for people who are selling drugs that are unapproved by the FDA.
Oh, that's what he does?
Exactly.
So this story we're seeing on the TV now is what?
Poriel's pitch, yes. That was one huge saga that went on at the Good Park where one Dulcie Boateng had, gathered a lot of people selling all these butt lifts, flat stomach, all these products that were unapproved by the FDA. So there was a raid between, and it was a joint collaboration between him, Ghana Pharmacy Council, and the police and the FDA themselves.
Okay, so as an investigative journalist, he did a report and presented it to the police, and this is what he's been doing.
Exactly.
When did this happen? This story we're looking at.
Last year, just last year.
I see. So the police are in contact with him of sorts.
They are in contact with him. He's even recently applied to the Director General for an investigator to investigate some of these cyber crimes and all that. You know, people selling things on all these media platforms, internet platforms like TikTok and all those things.
So he's working as an investigative journalist regularly.
Exactly.
So this incident you talk about, the one you said he went to apprehend people, was somebody arrested? This selling the medicine?
Oh yes, a lot of them.
Including the main act, the Miss Boateng lady?
The Dulcie was, I think she was apprehended and then she kind of escaped from the bus. So she was not presented to the police. But a lot of others, one like the Mitch brothers, they were there. So he's everywhere.
Wow.
He's everywhere. He has police escorts.
But did the multimedia article say that he's run away?
Yes, they said he fled the country the moment that the police were on his heels, which is when Ahmed died. And
Ahmed died how many years ago?
That's about 6 years ago. And he just...
So the article alleged that he's been out of the country for at least 5 years.
Exactly.
But he had been in Ghana.
He had been in Ghana.
Was he traveling was he traveling outside the country?
Just last year, he traveled 3 times.
In the same year? In
the same year.
I see.
Even as of Monday, I checked...
What umbrella does he work under? Tiger Eye? These investigations you're talking about is Tiger Eye? ISPY
GH247.
What's that?
I Spy GH247. That's where he works. I
Spy.
I Spy.
So Daniel Cranton works for I Spy GH.
Exactly.
And it's under this umbrella that he's been conducting investigations.
Exactly.
In collaboration with the Ghana police.
Exactly.
So you're making the point that it is not possible that he had run away and that he was a fugitive.
Never possible.
But there's an article multimedia rules.
Exactly.
Have you drawn multimedia's attention to that?
I have. I sent them a letter of retraction and apology. I have not heard anything. I gave them 48 hours.
Has it elapsed?
It elapsed today.
Okay. So you will write to them again?
No. It's time for action.
Okay, but who is Daniel Cranton, by the way? Who is he? He's
an undercover investigative journalist, and he only does the medical areas. Drugs, tramadol. He's done a documentary on tramadol. It's all over the airwaves. You know, this fella McAfee, she was apprehended at some point for selling all these herbal products for butt lifts and hip lifts and whatever they call them. He was the one who did that. He's done so many things.
So what was on the TV now? Fela McAfee.
Not for sale of unregistered. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So this was as a result of Daniel Cranton's work. Because we all saw this story, but we didn't know the backroom behind. So this was as a result of Daniel Cranton's work.
Exactly.
So this is what he's been doing.
Exactly.
But did he work for Tiger Eye before?
He did. I think between 2012 to 2013. 2013 to 2017. So for a period of time. I think about...
So he knows Anas Aremia Anas?
Very well.
He worked with him?
He worked with him.
What was his role in Tiger Eye?
He was an IT guy.
IT means
IT.
What?
He's the one who usually sets the cameras.
The hidden cameras?
Exactly.
in all those places. So he traveled outside with Anas.
Oh, yes. He traveled outside with Anas. He was with Anas. They were very good friends.
What is the relationship between his baby mother and Anas?
The baby mother used to make the beads that Anas used to wear. And that's all she used to do for him.
The baby mother is a beads maker?
Well, that's the narrative. That's what I know.
Okay, so she used to do that. So she was sort of part of the exercise of some sort?
No, she was just somebody who did a costume. She's not part of the exercise. It's a head costume. That's it.
That's it,
yes.
Okay. So when did he leave Tiger Eye, Daniel Kranti?
2017.
Did he leave before the Kwesi Nyantakyi investigation was conducted?
I'm not sure, but it was around the same time.
Was he in Dubai for that operation?
He was in Dubai, I think. I think when he returned from Dubai, I don't know exactly what was happening over there with Kwesi Nyantakyi, or if he was even there in the first place. That I cannot speak to. But he went to Dubai with Anas, and on the return, there was some ill feelings. Daniel Ofori felt hurt by some things that Anas did to him, and then decided at that point that he was done.
So there was a little bit of bad blood between Daniel Kranti and Anas Aremia Anas.
Daniel Ofori did not have any bad blood with anybody. All he said was, I do not like the way you treat me, and so I'm walking away to think about how to progress my life.
Was it about money?
Well, at some point, yes, because he claims, or the audios that we have as evidence goes to prove that when they went to Dubai, Anas had a problem with him because I think he was supposed to do something and it didn't happen. And Anas ignored him in Dubai for 3 days, in which he had to now look for sources or ways and means to survive in Dubai.
Whilst on operation.
And he felt that that was unacceptable on all levels because he loved him, he loved his family, he loved the man. So for you
Daniel
to do that,
Kranti loved Anas.
yes, he did.
Okay.
He really liked. He really loved him.
Okay.
He was one of the people who showed him his trade.
Anas showed Daniel Kranti his trade.
Yes.
And that's what he does now with what he's doing.
Exactly.
So he trained him.
More or less.
Did he also meet Ahmed Suale whilst he was working with Anas?
Yes, he did.
He knows him well?
He knows him well.
So when he was leaving Tiger Eye, did he tell Anas that he's leaving?
Well, he did not exactly tell Anas that he was leaving, but he said it in the grapevine that he was done and he was going. When he said that, one guy called Muda called him into an uncompleted building and shot in the air. The Muda didn't say anything according to the narrative. He did not say anything to him. He just shot in the air. So Daniel Ofori just kind of thought that this was a threat. So he just decided to just back away. So he just never went back to work again. So
Muda, you're introducing interesting elements. Muda was part of the group?
Exactly.
And when Daniel said that he was leaving, which you say he didn't tell Anas himself.
Yes.
Who did he tell?
I think he was just discussing it with the workers and saying, I'm done, I'm going.
So Anas must have heard.
Exactly. He said it through the grapevine.
And Muda invited him out to a place.
Yes, in Chado. You know, they were building a glass factory there, and Daniel Ofori was in charge of that. So he pulled him into
He was in charge of Anas's glass factory?
Yes, building.
That's a huge one. I've seen it. It's in Chado. It's huge.
He was the one in charge of that.
Inside the construction?
Yes. He was like the foreman, making sure that everything was done properly.
Then Anas trusted him.
Exactly.
So it was at this Chado place that Muda,
yes,
as you say, what did Muda do? He called him and said, come and get a gun?
He called him into an anchor. He said, come. He went in and then the Muda shot.
Muda was holding a weapon?
Yes, he shot in the air, and Daniel Ofori said, why? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? He didn't say one word and he walked away. All these things were things that Daniel Ofori told everybody as far back as 2019.
Oh, these things happened in 2019?
Exactly. So many years ago.
But you said he was leaving in 2017.
2017, he left 2017.
So 2019 he was still there?
No, what I'm trying to say is that he was explaining this to the whole world in 2019.
In 2019, that the events that occurred in 17,
in 2017.
By 19 he was telling people. So you're saying it's not new information?
It's not new information.
Okay. Where's Muda now?
I have no idea. I don't even know who he is.
What was his relationship with Ahmed Suale currently?
They were friends. They were very good friends.
Colleagues and friends?
Colleagues and friends.
Did they have interactions around the time that Suale died, before Suale died? Did they have any interactions?
Yes. Daniel Ofori had an interaction with him, I think somewhere in July, where...
oh, that's a text message on the showing the text message on the screen now, yes. Okay, so this is some of the text messages?
Yes, Ahmed said he had resigned.
Okay, so this is, who is in green, who is in white?
Daniel Ofori is in green.
Ahmed TGG. That's how he's titled it.
Exactly.
So, okay, cut it, enjoy your day would be Daniel Ofori.
Yes.
Am I right on that? Okay.
Yes, you are right.
Do you know I found the person who leaked the videos? Who is asking? You. That's Daniel Ofori asking.
Exactly.
Then the guy comes back and says, as I said, I resign. So who is saying he's resigned?
Ahmed
Suale is saying he resigned.
Yes.
So I don't care. But then anyone who leaked a video that couldn't leak videos we did
after you left.
After you left has done so to implicate you. Or he says that do you know I found the one who leaked the video? This is Daniel. Was Daniel accused of leaking some video?
Yes, he said anything that went wrong after he left, he was always accused of it.
Which videos? Do we know the videos they're talking about?
I think of some Arab men or something. I don't know what videos they're talking about. But I think that they had so-called pictures of them or whatever.
Yeah, but Kennedy Japan, in his Who Watches the Watchman, showed videos that would look like internal ANAS system videos. Yes. It would look like that because you see ANAS in talking and all that. And ANAS knew it was being filmed. So I'm sure they were filming it internally. Could it be these videos, the leakage of these videos about which ANAS was concerned that it could be Daniel Cranton who did it? Could it be that? It was that.
That was what he was trying to say. That all those videos that were leaked and that were roaming around the airwaves was from his quarters. And he said, I don't have anything to do with you. I just want to live my life. So why would I be leaking videos?
Maybe to sell.
Nobody watched those videos. Who watched those videos?
Kennedy Japan wanted them.
No. He was never the one that released any videos. He would never sell any videos. If you listen to the narratives, he's only accused of selling pictures.
Not videos. He's actually a photographer. But in this text that you show us.
Yes, so these videos, there was one other man that had access to the PC.
Okay.
And so in some chats, it was released that...
Which PC is that?
I think the PC where they were using for maybe editing videos or whatever it was.
Okay.
Yes. So the person, I think, was living very closely with them and had access to them. And then, so I think he was the one who was releasing them.
So by the time Ahmed Suale died, he was not a member of Tiger Eye PI?
No, he was not.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, he says it here. He was not. He said, I have resigned. I don't want to have anything to do with them. But you too be mindful, because anyone who is leaking videos that could not have been leaked after you left is trying to implicate you. And today, we are all here because Daniel Ofori is accused of leaking pictures.
To your knowledge, or to Daniel Ofori's knowledge, did Ahmed Suale fall out with Anas Arimi or Anas?
Well, it would appear so, because from the narratives or from the text messages, he had a lot of complaints about him. He has even said in one of the text messages that if he were to talk, what Ken did was small.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, he even went ahead and said that you do all these efforts and you are not appreciated. So he had some...
And you have these text messages?
Oh, yes, I have.
You can share... Oh, you have to look at me. You can share with some of us? You can share it with the media?
I can share it.
Of Ahmed Suale talking?
Yes, I have Daniel Ofori's full permission to share everything.
Okay, let me tell our viewers that we will obtain these videos and share it to you on the extended interview of this, on the extended program interview of this very important interview. So don't worry if you are watching it now and we are not showing the videos. Keep an eye on Good Evening Ghana on this page and on TV on Tuesday night. You get everything. Okay. So, wow. You said Ahmed Suale said in a text that if he were to talk, what Kennedy did with who watches a watchman, watches the watchman will be small, will pale into insignificance.
Yes, he said the whole Ghana will shake.
If he were to say what he knows
exactly
about the operations of Tiger Eye.
Exactly.
What then was Ahmed Suale doing by the time he died, to your knowledge?
I have no idea what he was doing. Because I think he said he was going to lay low in one of the text messages. And after that, my clients never had any interactions with him again.
Then he heard he had died?
Then he heard he had died.
Did he attend the funeral, Daniel Kranti?
No, he could not have attended the funeral. Because upon the death of Ahmed Suale, people were calling him and threatening him. I think
why do people think that he could have been part of the operation to undo Ahmed?
Because a certain narrative has been set way back in 2018. I mean, the same person that keeps telling everybody that Ahmed Suale died because of pictures.
Who is this person?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. We should ask, the whole Ghana should ask, who set the narrative years ago saying that Ahmed died because there was a release of pictures. Now, this Ahmed, his pictures are everywhere. If we are talking about who released pictures of Ahmed first or who released Ahmed's image first, it will be Anas. Because if you look at the school feeding documentary, the 16th minute, you will see Ahmed with a camera in there.
But they don't say that he's Ahmed Suale.
You don't have to say he's Ahmed Suale.
Yes, but having somebody's image in a documentary is quite different from having the image and writing the name Paul Adom Otchere on it. So because Ahmed is not on TV, he's not like me that people can, my name and my face are associated for many years. Ahmed's face may be known, but they didn't say in the documentary that this is Ahmed Suale.
My position is that Ahmed was not an undercover investigative journalist. Whoever he was interacting with during those documentaries. Yes.
When I interviewed Kwesi Nyantechi's wife, she told me that Ahmed came to Kwesi Nyantechi. He even came to their house to invite them to Dubai. So yes, he doesn't cover his face. He shows up.
So everybody knows who he is.
Not everybody, but some people.
I mean, those who...
Certainly, Kwesi Nyantechi knows him. Kwesi Nyantechi's friend, Mohammed, knows him. Some people around the GFA also know him. Yes. He comes and he says, Ahmed is looking for you. So he's quite well known. So you are making nonsense of the fact that given the so-called narrative of an Ahmed photograph is baseless.
Exactly. It is very baseless because photographs of a person who is not hidden. He even has a Facebook page with his photographs. He has published his photographs everywhere. And
on the Facebook page, he's called Ahmed Suale?
No, he's called Usong Diwala. Yes, but if I want your image, it's not too difficult to get it. If I
get the point you are making. That if somebody is looking for Ahmed's image, it's not difficult. It's there. It's available. Once I know who to ask him, and you get the image on social media.
Perfect.
So this image that we are seeing on the television, you said it was shared by Ahmed himself?
Yes, shared by him.
This is Facebook page?
Facebook.
But what name does he use on the Facebook page, you said?
Usong Diwala.
Usong Diwala.
Diwala, yeah. Well, I can't really pronounce it, but that's what
I see.
Yeah, I read it. He has pictures of his wife there, his children there. Everything about him is there. So it's strange why the narrative would be that the person died because of pictures. When years ago, this man has said, a dead man has said, whoever is releasing pictures is trying to implicate you. And years later, 5-6 years later, somebody is behind bars.
Because of the releasing of pictures. Because of allegations of releasing of pictures.
Allegations, speculations of such a high crime. Such a crime that is if you are slapped with a murder charge, you can imagine.
So the police are not saying to Daniel Kranti that he killed Suale. They are saying that his release of the photographs led to the murder of Suale. Is that really what the charge sheet is about?
Yes, and then they claim that he was in the vicinity, which I doubt very much. And even if you are in the vicinity...
He was in which vicinity?
He was around, they say he was around Medina.
Medina is where Ahmed Suale lived, and that's where he was killed.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Daniel Kranti was said to be around Medina.
That is what they say.
At the time that Ahmed Suale died.
That is what they say.
There were many people around Medina at 5 p.m. in the evening.
Exactly what I'm trying to say.
But what was he doing in Medina anyway?
My client never said he was in Medina.
He's denied the fact that he was in Medina.
He said he doesn't play there. He doesn't know what he will be doing in Medina.
Does he remember where he was?
I mean, we are talking about something in 2019 and it's 2025.
2019 is when Ahmed died?
Exactly. January 2019.
Yes, but if you say that people were calling him from that time, he certainly must remember where he was.
When people called him, he was at home.
Where? Amasaman.
Amasaman. So to him, it is strange.
Had he gone to Medina that day?
He doesn't remember. He said not that he doesn't remember. He said he wasn't there.
But I get your point that it's neither here nor there.
Yes, exactly.
Where he was is neither here nor there. In terms of a charge sheet, it's really ridiculous to
because
rely
if I'm
on
somewhere,
where a person was.
Maybe I was going my way, somebody said pass here. I mean, as far as I know, when he was called that Ahmed, or he was told that Ahmed had died, he was in Amasaman at his residence. And anybody who knows this gentleman very well knows that he's an early sleeper.
I see. Okay, so he's not... So by the time Ahmed died, was Ahmed, as far as your client knows, was Ahmed talking to Anas?
Was Ahmed... I don't know.
On friendly level, you will know that.
Nobody knows that.
But he has certainly resigned from Tiger Eye.
Yes, he had resigned.
But that information has never come out. I mean, he was buried as a Tiger Eye staff. Anas was at the funeral. You know, they treated the matter as one of their own has passed. They didn't say that he had left.
Mine. And we are going to find the killer of Ahmed. We are going to find the killer of Ahmed. And Ahmed died because of pictures. But to the best of our knowledge... Let me
finally ask you about the baby mother, because there's information that Anas spoke to the baby mother. What's that about?
Yes, she was heard in a conversation with Daniel Ofori that...
Do you have that audio?
Yes.
You'll give it to us?
With you.
All right.
He was said to have been planning, or Adolf and Anas. She said, if I can say it in Twi or say it in English, and Jane said, maybe a
Who's talking?
This is Anas.
Telling the lady.
This is the lady repeating what she had heard.
Okay, what did he say?
She's saying that imagine Jane say, maybe a I fey and a maybe na day. And she said some other lady in the...
Has the baby mother fallen out with Daniel Kranti?
Well, yes, they have fallen out. Because
I'm wondering why Anas will be talking to her, indicating the threats that he wants to carry out, if indeed he did. Threats he wants to carry out against her baby father, unless, of course, the two of them are falling out.
They had fallen out. They always fall out. They will start talking again. They fall out. They'll start talking again. But now they are not on good terms.
The lady and Kranti.
Exactly.
But Anas is on good terms with the lady?
Obviously, because she's the one who's giving the narrative.
But if she's not on good terms with Daniel Kranti, why is he calling him back to alert him that this is what your boss is saying?
No, at the time, what I'm trying to say is that they fall out and they become friends again.
Okay,
the time,
they had become friends again.
And she's saying, oh, do you know what happened here? This person is saying this and this and this. Okay. And that we are planning that... one Adolf was saying that we should fake an armed robbery attack, and somebody should even beat me up, so that in case you survive, you will not know that there was a ploy like that.
I don't get it. Somebody should beat who up?
Beat the Adolf up. So we are planning an armed robbery attack.
On who?
On Daniel Ofori.
And what's Adolf doing with it?
And Adolf will be with him, Daniel Ofori.
Oh, she'll be hanging around with him.
Yes. Yeah. So if the armed robbers come, they are supposed to kill Daniel Ofori and beat Adolf, so that it will be like they were both victims of the crime. And
Daniel passed, so that it won't even look like it's orchestrated.
Exactly.
And Adolf was part of the plan.
And Adolf, she's heard saying that Adolf was part of the plan.
Adolf was part of the plan for himself to be beaten.
Yes.
Really?
Willing to be beaten.
Why? Who was Adolf? Who could Adolf be doing this for?
Adolf was still working with Anas at the time.
This is getting very complicated.
Yes.
But it's taken the police 6 years to arrest the same Daniel Kranti who has collaborated with them since Ahmed Suale died.
Yes.
That is shocking too.
Collaborated with them, applied to them. He has police escorts following him everywhere when he's going for all these meetings. So to me, I was shocked when you say he's a fugitive of justice. He fled when he was when the police were closing in on him and just returned 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, everybody in this Ghana who knows him knows that he's been here. People are having dinner with him. He's looking after relatives. He's paying for people to be released from hospitals. He's doing a whole lot of things in Ghana. He's in plain sight. He's not hiding.
When do you go back to court? When's the next court date?
I'm not sure about that because I have completely withdrawn from.
Okay, but it's sometime soon.
I think that
don't you have a bail application to file?
I think it's first April. Yeah, we are going to file a bail application.
Okay, so finally, what's your suspicion?
I don't do suspicions. I'm just telling the facts as I have them. I speak to the facts. That if really somebody who knows someone, that we are friends, I don't have to wait for you to come home before I can finish you. I don't have to wait. And if it's even worse, because when people are around that know that I know you, it will be so easy to pinpoint me.
You are saying why it cannot be Daniel Kranti?
It cannot. And especially somebody cannot be killed because of pictures. Pictures that were everywhere.
But the description that the police gave to the Suale murder, it involved more than one person.
Obviously.
Because there were people in a vehicle who chased him. They tried to shoot at him, according to the police story, shoot at him. He was trying to maneuver away, hiding, running in his car, in his neighborhood where people knew him. And they were chasing him. So it's not one person.
So we can say that even Daniel Ofori does not even know about all these things.
No, the police published that.
Yes, but he himself he's like, he doesn't even know how that thing even happened. Because even when I asked him, how did this guy die? He said, what he said to me was, he thinks that they were motorbikes.
They could have been?
Yes.
Wow.
And even that motorbikes was when we were in the interrogation room when they were saying it. This guy, as soon as Ahmed died, he was like the most hated person amongst people that he used to love. Everybody was calling and threatening him. And he's going on live air, telling people, listen, my life is in danger. People are accusing me of what I don't know anything about.
Did he report those threats to the police?
He did. There's a Tesano police station report.
Is it forming part of your legal documents?
Yeah, well, definitely. It is part of it.
So he reported to Tesano police that I'm being threatened by people I used to work with for the murder of Ahmed Suale.
Exactly. He's even seen...
Did the Tesano police follow up to ask those people that he said were threatening him questions?
The case docket was taken to police headquarters.
Moved from Tesano to police headquarters?
Exactly.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Zero?
Nothing till date. And if you go online, all those media reportage and things on his allegations have been cleaned.
Oh, there were media reports that Kranti has reported to the police so, and
yes.
Those news items have vanished from internet.
Have vanished. If you go to Ghana Web, there was an article, but we had archived it. Now when you go, it's just the heading.
So you have it?
I have it.
Will you share it with us?
Oh, I will share
What's
it.
the heading?
I would have to check on my phone.
We started hearing from Monday, after videos of the party emerged and the kind of money that was splashed at the party was obvious, we started hearing that he's been looked for by the tax authorities and they wanted him to pay his taxes. These things happen even in America. Sometimes you do something, the tax authorities will come and sort of sort it out. But there's something that bothered me about the whole situation. You know, we have to recognize that in every country, some of the most important people are the people who have resources to employ, the people who have resources to innovate, the entrepreneurs who take risk in certain areas and are able to break through. They may have some difficulties, yes, they may have tax issues, but it's very, very important that we consider these people as jewels, because it is them who can build the society with government as a partner. When they say the private sector is the engine of growth, yeah, you can say, where did he get his money from and why is he so rich and all of that. That happens in Ghana. And we should be careful not to develop an abhorrence for people who are rich. Some people may be rich and they are genuinely rich. Some people may be rich and they are corrupt rich, whatever it is. But when they are corrupt rich, the tax systems can deal with them, but don't deal with them in a way that suggests that as a people, we don't like rich people. Because this guy could have gone to hold his party in Geneva. If truly he spent $10 million on it, he could have gone to do it in Geneva. We wouldn't have known. He could have gone to do it in London. We would have heard. He could have done it in New York. If you have $10 million to do a party, you can really do it anywhere in the world. But he did it in Ghana. All the resources that was spent on Ghanaians. I know people who went to fix the thing, the crane, the stage, everything was Ghanaian. So that $10 million, it sieved through into Ghanaian hands. Some of those Ghanaians are very ordinary people who just grill pork. And they were told by Mr. Nii Armah that, can you grill pork for 1,000 people? They have never grilled pork for 1,000 people before. They scratched their head, they went to look for the pork, and he gave them the business. Some people who just clean. Some of the cleaners in Ghana have never cleaned that kind of magnitude of a place. They were paid for it. So he decided that as a Ghanaian, he's spending his money in Ghana. He may have some tax difficulties, and I have to speak to my rich friends as well. There he is in the picture. Chief, how are you? Don't worry, you pay your taxes. We'll be fine. Ghana loves you, okay? Ghana really loves you. Don't go anywhere. We love you. We love your money. We love you to spend your money here. You're a good guy. You're a fine guy. Spend the money here, please. Just make sure that everything is okay. Yeah, just sort those things out. So back to the story. So if we start frightening people, there may be some 38-year-old man who has $500 million from whatever he's doing. There may be some 36 years, there may be a 45, there may be a 47. In the old days, when we were growing up, we heard that people were rich. B.A. Mensah was rich. Sian Tata Brewer was rich. Other people were rich. Poku Transport in Kumasi was very rich. Charles Alenjima, he was very rich. Harry Zakor, he was rich. He would give us bread at bus stop. He was rich. He handled Accra Hearts of Folk. Let's not create this culture in the 80s where being rich was an endangered species. Let's not do that. Yes, rich people let me say something small to you rich people, okay? Ghana's culture is different from Nigeria. Ghana's culture is more conservative. We don't like the excessive show of opulence. Ghanaians really don't like that. It may not be that they don't like rich people, no. It may be that because of that culture, we don't like excessive show of opulence. Ghanaians don't like it. Nigerians celebrate that. Ghanaians don't like that. A little bit of opulence will do, but not excessive. So if you are doing your party as a rich man, you manage, be sensitive to the culture of the country that you live. It's not a culture of negativity, no. It's just a culture of people who are conservative, who don't like that. You find a bit of that in the United Kingdom. If you compare it to the United States, you find a bit of that a bit of more conservatism in the United Kingdom than you see in the United States. For instance, this guy who is now in trouble, rapper P. Diddy, who was doing parties, he probably could not have been able to sustain those parties in the United Kingdom. Because the United Kingdom also has this culture like Ghana, where they are a bit conservative about rich people. Yes, they have rich people in London. They have Richard Branson. He's very, very rich. They have Mohammed Fayed. He was very, very rich. They were all in London. They are fine. But they also don't like the excessive show of opulence. So let us be careful. Those on the side of the authorities, let's not let rich people think that we hate them. Because we need more of those rich people to let our country grow. That's how it will grow. The guy has employed people. So even if he's done something wrong, you can deal with him. You can call him and say, hey, you owe taxes, and let him pay. Give him 5 years to pay. Don't say that he went to do party, so he should come in. He shouldn't be in trouble because he went to do party. No, he should be in trouble because he hasn't paid his taxes. Whether he has done party or he hasn't done party, if he hasn't paid his taxes, he should be in trouble. But it's not that he goes to do party. They are calling me. Okay, I'll come to the story. Don't worry, guys. I'm coming to the court story, the Chief Justice story. So it's not that he's going to do party, so they are going to catch him because he's done party. If he's rich and he hasn't paid his taxes, whether he has done party or he hasn't done party, the GRA should go quietly to him. And when the GRA is going quietly to him, there's no need to publicize it. So that some people are celebrating Yachino, Yachino. I look at them and said, wow, what kind of young people are we growing? What are you celebrating? That the rich man who did the party has been caught. He has been caught that he's done what? I mean, for the kind of wealth that they say he has, even if he owes tax 20 million cedis, he will be able to discharge that obligation. But it's important for us young people, I'm old now, but those of you who are very young, it's important for you to recognize that rich people lay the golden eggs of a society. Every government, when our governments leave, like Akufo-Addo has left power, we should ask him, how many rich people did you create? If we have been creating rich people, every Ghanaian president creates 10 rich people since 1992. Do you know where we'll be? Rawlings would have created 10. Kufuor 10, that's 20. 20 billionaires in Ghana. $20 billion already in the country, in the system. Let's encourage them to keep their money here. Because if you do that, it's going to put the money in Switzerland. And it will inure to the benefits of the Swiss bank. So when you go to take a loan at the Swiss bank, they will tell you that it's interest-free or you don't pay any interest because they have so much of it. Who does it belong to? Ghanaians, Nigerians, Malians. Because they are afraid to put their money in their country because we will hate them. We can't do that. We shouldn't do that. It's wrong. And I've just come to say that I'm not supporting tax evasion or any tax. Or people say that to us for Paul, he likes rich people because they will give him money. Everyone must like rich people because, yes, they may give you money and you need it. And the society must like rich people, not just because they will give us money, but they will create wealth. They will create things. Look at the people who went to MC the show, my people, my colleagues. They MC the show. Do you know how much the MCs were paid? Some of them have never been paid that kind of money before. They are Ghanaians. The money came into their hand. It went on to mobile money. MTN will get their money. Government of Ghana will tax them. Some of them took their money and bought a motorbike. So the motorbike vendor has sold one motorbike. Let us understand this concept. And as I said, rich people too, please, know that in Ghana, the culture is that we don't like excessive opulence. So you can buy your G-Wagon or your Ferrari or your Bugatti and all of that. You don't need to take pictures and show us that you bought a private jet. You don't need that. So I'm doing this montage to celebrate the people that are rich, men and women who are very rich in Ghana. We need more of those people to make things happen so that not everybody has to go to government for anything. When you need a loan, you can go to a private bank and they have a lot of money. They can give you the money. Whether the guy got the money from the sky, some snake vomited it, as they say, some lion is in his house and he's been vomiting money. If the lion vomits the dollar and it's his legal tender and it has the signature of the Federal Reserve Bank, it's proper dollar. Do you care whether it was lion who vomited it or not? If he uses that to set up a school and you're a teacher, you are teaching there, and you're a parent and your child is going to school there, is it not better? It is okay. Let's get these things working in our society. Nigeria is running ahead of us. Let's not allow that. In Nigeria, he will do this party and somebody will challenge him next week. That, oh, this guy did a party, I will do better. And then they will let Davido sing for 3 hours. And say, Davido sang there for 1 hour. My party sang for 3 hours. And then we all bow to him. Baba Gana Kinjebi, oh, Oga, may you live long, oh, may you never die. That's what they do in Nigeria. You go there and say, Oga, well done, oh, may you never die. Why do they say may he never die? Because he's producing for the society. He's multiplying himself. So the people who work with him become millionaires. Go to Zoom Lion. Some of the people who started the Zoom Lion business with him, they have all been set up by Zoom Lion. They've set up their company. Robert Coleman is an example. He's left Zoom Lion. He's doing Wembley. He started with Zoom Lion. He's now an entrepreneur. He's growing other people. Other people have left Zoom Lion and are doing something similar to what Zoom Lion does. They are called Zoom Alliance. They used to work at Zoom Lion. Now they have their own company. And they are growing. In 20 years, Siawa Japan would have duplicated himself times 10. And we must welcome these things. If he hasn't paid his taxes, we can check that. But let's not break the hen that lays the golden eggs. Golden eggs layers too, please recognize that in Ghana, we are a bit conservative. This montage is for all